All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another rendition of our Spotlight webinar series. Today's Spotlight is actually on Immigrant and Human Rights Clinic. My name is Yunus Lari. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at the admissions office, and I will be your host today. Throughout the procedure, as you're watching and listening, please feel free to ask any question in the chat box, and we will do our best to answer it at the end. Now, to start, let me introduce to you our today's presenters. First, we will have Professor Ericka Curran, who is the Director of Clinical Programs here at Florida Coastal. Then we will have two of our current students who are participating in the clinics, in the Immigrant and Human Rights clinics, Elizabeth Lazar and Joelle Limas. They will tell you about their experience in participating in the clinic program. Now, without any further ado, let me ask Professor Curran to start her presentation. Professor Curran, it's all yours.
Great, thank you. Well, welcome. My name is Ericka Curran. I started the Immigrant and Human Rights Clinic here at Florida Coastal in 2007. I came to Jacksonville originally from Seattle, Washington, where I practiced immigration law, and I also worked in South Africa and in South America doing some immigration and migrant rights related work. Here at Florida Coastal in our immigration clinic, we have students working directly on immigration cases. A variety of cases. I'd like students to get experience that will be similar to the experience that they might have actually in practice. So we take a variety of cases. We focus on a lot of cases involving human rights related immigration violations. So we do asylum for children, asylum for political asylees and refugees who are fleeing violence, both persecution based on religion, gender, persecution based on sexual orientation, a variety of types of cases. We've recently been focused on helping immigrant children this past year because there's been an influx of immigrant children, particularly young girls, fleeing Central American countries. A number of them have ended up in our region. A project where we did Know Your Rights presentations and provided legal orientation to immigrant children. Students appear in court, and I'm sitting next to them or behind them, supporting them, helping them get experience. It's a great thing to do your first hearing or trial while in law school so that you hit the ground running once you graduate, you know what you're doing, you're ready to do. And from the clinic tend to be from a variety of different cultural backgrounds. Jacksonville is a very diverse community. It's a large city, but there are lots of different pocket communities of immigrants from all over the world. We have a number of clients that are from Central American countries, from Cuba, from all over Latin America, but we also represent clients from Europe, from Asian countries. We have an asylum seeker representing right now who's from Bangladesh, and we're also representing a family from Iraq, a religious minority family. We've been representing some Syrians in their asylum cases as well, and doing a lot of interesting work there. We also do family-based immigration, helping families reunite that's been separated. We just helped a family where the mom was a survivor of human trafficking. We helped her get a trafficking visa, and then students were able to help reunite her with her children that she had been separated from for nearly 10 years, and they're now all in the United States. This spring, we're doing a really big project called Citizenship Day, where we're trying to do paperwork to assist as many immigrants who are interested and eligible to apply for citizenship in one day. So we have a partnership with the local bar association, as well as the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and about 50 students who will be helping We help over 100 different immigrant families apply for citizenship. We're very excited about that. You can participate in the clinical program after you complete your first year of study, so 1 full year of law school under your belt, and then you're eligible to take experiential learning credits, which include clinics and externships. So I do take some second-year law students in the Immigrant and Human Rights Clinic, and also third year, so it's usually a mixture of students. And you can take the clinic more than once. You can take up to currently 12 credits of clinics or externships. So you could take it one semester for 4 credits and take it again for a couple of credits. Students who are really passionate about immigration, sometimes I have them with me for a year and a half or a year working and following their cases. Other students just want to try it out, see if it's for them. But a lot of students that are really not sure what they want to do, so we do try to create programming here in our clinical programs where you're going to learn skills that you can use in any number of the practice areas. So you might, decide that immigration isn't for you, but you'll learn how to draft motions, do appearances in court, conduct legal research, interview clients, all of the things that you can use in this area. Right now, students in the clinic are preparing for some different hearings. We have recently represented an individual who was seeking asylum from Mexico, and he's in detention in South Florida, so the clinical students will be traveling with me to go down to do a hearing in Miami at the Crown Immigration Center representing our client to a Mexican national. Traveling. The immigration clinic that typically we participate, the immigration court is typically in Orlando, and that's about a 2-hour drive from Jacksonville. So they're once or twice a month. And we also have an immigrant detention facility here in the area, so we've done projects out of the facility, interviewing detainees, and human rights conditions in the detention center. It's a variety of work. We also bring in speakers in the area of business and entrepreneurial immigration, which is not something that we actually are able to do directly in the clinic because the clinic has to serve indigent individuals and business owners typically financially qualified. Although we're helping right now, we have a case that Joelle, one of the students, will be presenting that we're working on, very young entrepreneur from the UK who's trying to just come to the United States to finish a project he's working on and help get back to meet them. A little bit, mostly we're focusing on humanitarian and family-based. Students in the past have also gone with me to DC to support the American Immigration Lawyers Association National Day of Action, which is the advocacy lobby day for immigration reform. And so students and I have gone up to DC and gone to the Hill and spoken to different representatives about immigration reform and then the need to fix our broken immigration. As an overview of the clinic in general, we are happy to have prospective students come with us to court, come see what we do, and you'd be more than welcome to contact me if you think you might be in the area and you're interested in seeing what we do firsthand. We'd be happy to. And I also, the clinic is designed like a seminar, so there's only 8 to 10 students in the clinic each semester. This semester, I think we have 15, grew a little bit. But it's a small group. So you really get some individualized attention and meet with each student about once a week, 20 minutes over their cases one-on-one. Those supervision of the small seminars. So if you're somebody who learns, by getting in there and doing stuff, this is really the type of programming for you. I did a clinic in law school, and it's the best thing for that. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer questions. And again, I'm available via email or phone if there's any follow-up that you That's really just an intro to the clinic. So I will pass it back to the moderator now.
Professor Curran, thank you very much for that very informative presentation. If I receive any questions by the end of the webinar, I will definitely send them your way. Now, let me redirect this to our first current student presenter today, who's also participating in the Immigrant and Human Rights Clinic to learn a little bit about her experience in the clinic. Elizabeth, can you hear me?
You.
All right, perfect. It's all yours.
Great. Well, my name is Elizabeth Lazar. I'm a 3L student here, so I'm in my last semester, about to graduate. I'm taking three credits of the clinic, so I have to do about 130 hours this semester, which is very manageable. I was a psychology background, so I actually started, that's what I got my bachelor's in, so I didn't have a legal background before I came to law school. A lot of people think that will put you ahead, but you could do just fine without one. And I actually come from a family of immigrants. My family immigrated to the U.S. and to Canada after they had to flee Iraq because they were being persecuted for being both an ethnic and a religious minority. We are Assyrian Christians, so there was 2 minority counts against them, and that was what kind of triggered my wanting to work in immigration. So that made me want to go to law school, and then I decided to come to Florida Coastal, and the reason why I wanted to do the Immigrant and Human Rights Clinic was I had heard about Professor Curran before even starting at Florida Coastal, so I wanted to make sure to get a chance to work with her because I had heard that would be a great experience, especially if you want to be an immigration attorney. What better way to get actual real-life experience than having real-life clients under the supervision of an awesome immigration attorney in Florida. So through the clinic, I have been able to help clients who are both seeking asylum, and those are stories kind of similar to what my family had to deal with in the past, not myself personally because I was born here, but my family had to deal with them. And then I also have people who are trafficking victims, and they're applying for T visas, and so that's something completely new to me, and also had to give me kind of a strength of character to have to deal with these terrifying stories that you hear from clients, but it really builds character. It helps you figure out how to deal with real life stories. And so those are the kind of clients that I have. There's a huge variety of cases that come into the clinic, and you get to experience different types of cases through even your peers here. I know Joelle, who's sitting next to me, he has different cases, but we'll get to hear about how to either file this type of motion that is required or how their interviews with the immigration offices went. So that is something that was kind of great to me, is just to see how it actually works out. I took immigration classes before the clinic. I even took human trafficking classes, and you learn a lot in those classes, no doubt, but nothing changes you as much as actually getting into the shoes of a student clinician and then seeing how you would do it in the real world. That can't be learned out of a textbook. That is something you need to gain out of experience. So that was my biggest, benefit from the clinic, of course. I guess for me, like, one of the most valuable experiences was just the mini victories. Immigration cases, they take a long time to go through. So you don't always get to see, yes, my client became a citizen, and that's what everyone wants to see, is, that big final success. But it's the tiny successes along the way that really mean a lot to me, to see the sense of relief your clients get, even when they just get an employment authorization document. It's not always the big rewards that make the day. Sometimes the smaller ones along the way, you'll see they make a big difference in people's lives. And, to see smile on a life that you actually changed, it means the world. So that to me is a huge, huge benefit from the clinic. I kind of talk really fast, but I will pass it over to my friend, Joelle.
Hello, my name is Joelle Limas, and I'm also one of the clinicians here at the school in the immigration clinic. And I have the privilege to work with Liz and Professor Curran, Elizabeth and Professor Curran. This is actually my second semester working in the clinic. Like Professor Curran said, we can do up to 12 credits of experiential learning. And what I wanted to do is have as much experience as I could before going into the real world. And like Liz was saying, there is nothing like getting the experience, firsthand experience by working with clients, real clients, than having it in the clinic. When I came to law school, I, like Elizabeth here, came from an immigrant, and I wasn't born in the United States, so I had to go through the process of becoming a citizen, becoming a permanent resident, and all the paperwork, and I saw all the stepping stones that you have to overcome to get to that point. And also coming from a different culture and a different background, I also wanted to help people. So when I came to student admissions day, I met Professor Curran that day, and I actually went up to her and I said, I want to work with you and I want to be in your clinic. So in some way or another, I've been part of the clinic since my first semester, because what I did was I volunteer myself as an interpreter, and what that did was I kind of worked with other clinicians as an interpreter between them and their clients whenever they had a language barrier. So when I had the opportunity on my second year to become a clinician, I jumped right in. And like Liz was saying, the experience and having that benefit of helping somebody else is nothing will take away from that. And that's something that it would give you great pleasure, having to work with this client and see how you can make a difference in their life. For example, one of my clients that we had to work with, and again, this is not just my work, is this client has been part of the clinic for over 4 years. Originally, the client was a human trafficking victim. And so she came to the clinic and we helped her get established in the United States, get the paperwork, it became a permanent resident and now a citizen. But prior to that, when she came to the country, she had 2 daughters and they were left behind in her country. So when I got to meet this client, it was kind of towards the end. So I got to see the family being reunited. So actually last week, after 4 years, the one daughter that was left in her country with her 2-year-old son that had never met the grandmother yet were able to come to the United States and be reunited with their family. So again, this is something that you get to be part of somebody's life and seeing how you can change that process. Being a student, it's amazing. It's something that I will do it in a heartbeat all over again if I could. There again, some of the clients and some of the stories, like Elizabeth was saying, that is you really have to think outside the box and kind of put yourself in the shoes, and that way you can help the client better. Because having to really horrific stories that they've been through, it's unbelievable. But then you get to the other side and you get to help these clients and you get to help them a little bit, and that's something really, really rewarding. Again, if you can do it, this is an amazing opportunity. If you're able to do it, we highly recommend it. And if you have any questions, we're here to help you. Also, another benefit from the clinic is you get to work with groups. Again, this is the second semester that I'm doing it, and I'm working as a senior clinician with Elizabeth now, and we get to help other clinicians. And now we get to help them with things that we already have done, like we go into court, getting them prepared and getting them ready if they have any questions, and we can help them. So that'll give you that benefit of working in groups. And that is also important, because when you're going into the real world and you're getting to work, you're probably not going to have to work alone. You're probably going to work with somebody else. And that will also give you that benefit and that advantage that it gets you ready, practice ready to be in the real world. So again, we highly recommend it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. And thank you for having us.
All right, perfect. Well, Elizabeth and you all, thank you very much for sharing that very compelling stories and very informative presentations. I do have a few questions from students, but a couple for Professor Curran first. Someone has asked, in terms of building resumes and professional development, how would you say the clinic experience would improve students' resume and basically professional reputation as they walk into potentially the interviews and meeting with future employers?
Well, I can say I got my first job out of law school after an attorney observed me working on a case while part of the clinical program. So it can be a great way to meet people in the profession while you're actually working on cases. If somebody happens to see you in court, and I've had attorneys come up to me after my students have done a case and said, "Wow, that was really impressive." Those were law students. I didn't do that. But we also strive to have our students who are involved in clinical and externship programs meet with the career services department so they can really help hone in on what it is the skills are that they got out of a particular program so that they can highlight those on their resume. Employers are looking for students that have a significant level of experience. I think the recommended amount is 400 hours of legal experience prior to graduation. Employers are no longer in a position where they just want to train you. They want you to come to them with some different. The clinical experience, and we do have over 15 different clinics at Florida Coastal that you can participate in, is very intensive. You're going to get a lot of one-on-one. You're going to get to meet with your client. You're going to get to go to interviews or to court. We also have that in an externship, but sometimes in an externship you don't have quite a level of supervision that you get in an in-house clinic.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We also had students curious about the Citizenship Day. How does that work, Professor Curran?
So Citizenship Day is a combination of a clinical and pro bono experience. So students can get involved in that. They're 1 hour a year. Citizenship Day is something where we train students to help us grow this program. So something that would be ordinarily just 8 students working on something, we're able to involve up to 40 or 50 students. And I have a little YouTube video which I can pass on to you all, which includes sort of the imagery of the students sitting down in our large atrium where we meet with all the clients. And it's really a fun event. We also have hot dogs and apple pie on the back porch of the school for all the clients, and then after they finish their case. And citizenship is something that's quite straightforward or deceptively simple. You really do, in certain circumstances, need a lawyer or someone to assist you. And so sometimes people think they can navigate it on their own, but when they sit down with the paperwork and the questions, they really do want to help. So it's been a tremendous opportunity for both our students as well as the community here in Jacksonville, folks getting help with those other ones that we get as the students. We also bring in pro bono attorneys, so that's really fun too. Students get to interact with attorneys from the private life.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you very much. I also have a question, both for Elizabeth and Joelle, whichever one to answer first. Students were wondering, what are your one of the favorite experiences that you've had through working with the Immigrant and the Human Rights Clinic?
Can you repeat that again, please?
What are some of the favorite experiences that you've had working with the clinic?
My favorite was getting to go to Orlando and actually see the immigration court and in process and get to speak with some of the judges. That was memorable for me, and you get to see exactly what I guess what a typical day in court would be for an attorney. It's not that often that it happens for a student, so to see attorneys in action, that was pretty great.
That's actually a great example that Liz gave. But for me, actually, one of the ones that I will always treasure was going to Orlando, actually, too. But it actually came to when we went to a house when unaccompanied minors came to the United States and they were detained by the government. And that was the presentation that we went and gave that Professor Curran was making reference to the Know Your Right presentation. And we had kids in there from 11 years old to 16, I believe, was the oldest that we had. And having to work with these kids and having to see and hear firsthand experience what they went through. And also we place them with their family, or we send them to another state and put them in contact with different attorneys to help them pro bono cases to become citizen and become members of, not members, but legal residents of the United States, or being away with their family was actually quite impressive. It was a really, really good experience that I had with the clinic.
Well, thank you. Also, Joelle, now that I have you, I had a student wondering if someone wants to sign up to become an interpreter, how do they go about doing that?
That's you can do that through two ways. You can actually contact Professor Curran, but there is another organization in the school. It's called Visa organization, and what they can do, you can send them an email. I think is Taylor is the. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, there is an organization here at the school. It's called Visa, and you can sign up through them. Send them an email, and they'll put you on the list, and you become an interpreter. If you speak another language, we have a huge list that we can go through, because we have a client. I have a client that I'm working with right now, along with Professor Curran, that he's Vietnamese, and we had a really hard time trying to find an interpreter because we didn't have anybody at the school at that time that spoke the language. So being part of that list and offering you help is a really way. It's a great way to get to Professor Curran, to get to know you and help other people as well.
Yeah, and it's actually more than just, Joelle here obviously will be able to help clients with Spanish that are Spanish speakers, but we have interpreters for a huge variety of languages. I speak French. I didn't think I'd get that many opportunities to use my skills with French, but there are Haitian clients, or even if you're just sometimes translating documents, it's not just interpreting the spoken word, but sometimes you're translating the written word. There's always opportunities for students, and it's a great way to get an introduction into the clinic and also to gain pro bono hours.
And I will say, putting language skills on your resume is a tremendous benefit, particularly in the practice of immigration law or international law, anything with business. Folks that speak other languages are going to get ahead of the game. So we try to make sure students get some training on how to actually do legal interpreting and what interpreting is, because you can be bilingual or trilingual and not really understand how to interpret and translate professionally. So we try to provide that support. Not to mention, it allows us to have access to our programming to a broader community. So we love having students be part of the volunteer interpreter program.
Well, thank you very much. Also, Professor Curran, I know you touched upon it a little bit, but could you go into a little more detail as to the application process? How do students go about filling in application and getting that ball rolling?
Yeah, so we have advertisements every semester for when we open the application period. You don't sign up for the immigration clinic like a regular class. You actually have to apply for it, turn in your resume and a cover letter. And so each semester we have application periods, and you apply for it just like you would for any other job. And we conduct interviews and we meet with students. If you're really passionate about immigration and that's what you know you want to do, I will make sure that you get an opportunity in the clinic. And really, it's all about your dedication and passion. But come, like Joelle did, come to me your 1 hour year and say, this is really what I want to do. I'm going to make sure that I get the immigration. And we definitely try to connect with students who are very passionate about specific practice area. We have these 5 in-house clinics. immigration, family law, criminal defense, public benefits and disability, and business law. Those are the ones that you have to apply to because they're a larger credit load and competitive to get in. Our 10 practitioner clinics are by registration only, and those are taught by adjunct faculty members practicing out in the community, and students can register for those when they're offered, and there's different process there. But the applications are posted. We're having applications for fall right now, so I'll be bringing students in and meeting with them and making sure the students that are interested in fall, that's the time for them, because sometimes it might not be the best semester for you. You're going to have to take a lot of bar classes that are really heavy load one semester. You might want to do your clinic a different semester. It really is kind of like a part-time job while you're in the clinic. And 15 or so hours a week. But I find that most students, they say they just don't know where the time went. They just really enjoy getting in. So we do consider your academic credentials. Your GPA isn't the most important thing to me when you're applying to the clinic. For me, it's like, what are you passionate about? What drives you to be a lawyer? Why are you here? And what skills do you want to have? A lot of really amazing lawyers out there were at the top of their class. So we look at the whole person, the whole student, and what their goals and passion are.
Well, thank you very much. I think these are all the questions that I've had. I just want to go ahead and thank Professor Curran, Elizabeth, and Joelle for joining me in doing this presentation and doing this webinar. Thanks for your time, and also for all of you for being here and watching and listening to us. Please keep sending in your questions and stay in touch. We will do our best to answer the questions. If you have any comments and concern, you can see my contact information on your screen. We will have more webinars coming up in upcoming weeks, so keep an eye out for those, and I hope to see more and more of you then. Hope you found this informative, and have a great rest of the day. Bye for now.